Good evening. I've just watched a video from a person who purports to be the Assistant Commissioner of Victoria. He thinks that incitement is a serious offence. His name is Luke. He described people as coming from Mars to think that they should just walk out of their houses and go out and protest on the street. You, sir, are a lunatic, a moon tick. You have 10 chops short of a 6 chop barbecue to put over the crap that you put over trying to justify the arrest of a pregnant woman. For a serious offence? Get real. What about that idiot you call a premier? That traitor? He is a traitor. He follows the will of the Labor Party, his political party, his socialist mates, to bring down your state, to control your state under laws which are made. They're not laws, they're rules, because he isn't an officer of the Crown, never swore the lawful oath, nor did you. So you're a traitor in a position of authority in the Commonwealth of Australia without being a lawful officer of the Crown as required by the Commonwealth Constitution Act 1900 UK and the Commonwealth Constitution, the supreme law of this country. Law, not acts and statutes which are not law. You, sir, lied from one end of that video to the other, trying to justify what those police officers did. If they followed your orders, go read the Nuremberg trial. They're just as guilty of treason as you are. But you and that idiot Andrews are guilty of treachery to overturn the Constitution. How so? Put it this way. 1975, you removed, or the Labor Party removed, the Constitution of the state of Victoria and replaced it with another one. 106 of this Constitution says the state constitutions can continue at federation subject to this Constitution. Where in here does it say you can throw your Constitution away because you don't like the provisions and put in another one? Where does that say that? Liar, traitor, fraud. Where does it say that? You are responsible. You are in a position of authority. You must be an officer of the Crown. You. Don't babble on and blubber on with the crap that you've been putting, threatening people who leave their houses. They have every right. We, the people of the Commonwealth. Guess what? Under Clause 8 of the Constitution, go read it. It states, when the colonies become states, the Boundaries Act no longer applies. You can't set a boundary. A border is a boundary. There are no hard borders, so you lied about that. Lied. As an Assistant Commissioner, you must know the law. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. But you don't have any courts. You don't have any lawful police. You don't have any lawful parliament. Since you idiots removed your Constitution, you fools are sitting there in treason. You fools are going to stand trial for treason. You understand that? And treachery to overturn the Constitution. That is imprisonment for life. You understand that? That is a serious offence, not incitement. How do you get a warrant to fish for evidence? Now you have a problem with that too. Read section 69 of the Constitution. At federation, there were certain laws taken off the states. Telecommunications was one of them. The other one was putting people into quarantine. That was taken off the states. If there is any lawful laws in relation to quarantine, they must come from the federal parliament, put together by the Governor-General in Council, not the Prime Minister. That idiot, he's a traitor as well. We don't have any lawful courts in this country. Not one of them sit under the Crown. Not one politician sits under the Crown. Not one police officer sits under the Crown. You are nothing but a lying traitor, a criminal, a very, very serious criminal. You understand that? Plenty versus Dillon in the High Court. It cost the police in South Australia $300,000 in costs because they had no right of entry. You have no right of entry, but you did. You took a woman into custody. You tried to justify putting handcuffs on her. What a clown. You think anybody believed, oh, she might jump up. Look at that, she's pregnant. She might jump up and say boo to one of your cops. What are you going to do, pull a gun and shoot her? You a pack of spineless fleas. Do I know how police work? Yes, I spent 17 years in the Western Australian Police. We had handcuffs, we had batons, we had pistols. We used a baton when it was necessary. We handcuffed people who were visibly violent. Not where some scaredy cat little pussy turns up and, oh, we better put handcuffs on. She might look at us. And you might get scared. You pack of weasels. Your state constitution, when you remove it, you negated the state, which means you don't have a lawful state. You don't have a lawful parliament. You don't have lawful politicians. You don't have lawful police. You don't have lawful judges. You don't have lawful magistrates. And you don't have lawful courts. Now what have you got? Nothing. You, sir, are a liar. How dare you talk to the people? How dare you order them inside? I don't care about your pandemic. Whether it's lawful or not, it cannot be executed by state parliaments. You cannot pass rules, regulations, acts, statutes, or laws in a parliament in relation to quarantine or in relation to borders. That is constitutional law. That is constitutional reality. The Constitution is the supreme law of this country. No, your states did not exist before Federation. They were penal colonies, military outposts. They became states under the provisions of 107, 108 and 109 of the Constitution. That's how they're created. And they draw their authority referentially from that Constitution. Their constitutions of the states continue subject to this Constitution. Subject to. In other words, if it's not in here, you can't have it. You can't have it. I don't care what you rule. The premiers of the states got together and decided they're going to steal the property having, look at that, nice little Torrens titles. So you steal people's property. So we work all our lives and idiots like you promote this stupid parliament, which are nothing but a bunch of traitors. Why aren't you doing your job? Representing the people, representing the Crown, the people of the Commonwealth. Get off your fat, lazy backside and arrest them for treason. Arrest them for treachery to overturn the Constitution. Arrest them for breaches of the Constitution. Why aren't you doing it? Why are you blabbing on about people stay home? Because some mysterious bug that has never been isolated, if it has, show me the evidence. I base everything I do on evidence. I was taught that in the police force. I swore an oath of allegiance to the Crown. I am an officer of the Crown. You are not. You are not. I know when it came out. I know you haven't sworn it. And for you to do what you're doing, you threatening people because they want to leave their houses, how dare you? I don't care about coronavirus. That's flu. Everyone knows that. It's on the bottles of Dettol and everything else. It kills it. It's been there for years. If COVID-19 exists, why aren't the media announcing all these cases of COVID-19 and not coronavirus? They're not the same thing. They are not. A virus has a protein that's manufactured. That's COVID-19. The other viruses don't. The flu virus. Where does that come from? Why don't you clarify it? Why don't you stick to keeping the peace? Why don't you stick to the real law? Why don't you arrest and charge the traitors in your state? The traitors. All the politicians, all the judges, all the magistrates. They're all traitors. But you mob of traitors as well. Where is the crown on your uniform? Why don't you uphold that crown? Why don't you swear an oath of allegiance to it? Why don't you back that allegiance? Our Constitution, this is the annotated version. It explains how everything works. It explains the Parliament is not sovereign or supreme. 1890 to 1900 Hansard for the Australasian Council and the colonies states very, very clearly at Federation any presumed sovereignty or supremacy of a Parliament and the right to change the Constitution is removed at Federation and granted to the people. No one else. The people who are the Commonwealth. Do you understand that? Stop lying, stop threatening the people, do your job, arrest the Parliament, or get out of where you are. You're a lying idiot. You are not from Mars, like you claim these people are. You're a lunatic from the moon. You know, a tick from the moon with no brain at all. Grow up or shut up. Everybody thinks you're a blubbering fool. The statements you've made lately against people, your criticism of people. Why don't you look at yourself? Look in the mirror at what you're doing to this country. Look in the mirror at the fact that you're committing blatant treason against the people of this country. You want to hit me for slander? Try it. Try it. You're not an officer of the Crown. You're not a lawyer. And you do not know what you're talking about. You are lying. You breach this, you breach the oath of allegiance you owe to the people. That is treason. Go read the Commonwealth Criminal Code. You put something else in place of this, you overturn this. That's treachery to overturn our Constitution. That is blatant treason. That's imprisonment for life. The rest of your life, which isn't going to be very long, probably 25, 30 years, if you're lucky. If you're lucky. And those 25 or 30 years are going to be spent behind bars because we, the people, are waking up. We, the people, are going to push to have you and people like you and all the politicians and all your judges and magistrates behind bars where they belong, in cages to pay for the proper serious offences. Incitement. People are allowed to protest. We are not bound by anything in this book. This is binding on you people. We are only bound by lawful laws made pursuant to this, under the authority granted by this, nothing more. So, till then, shut up until you've got something sensible to say. Look at the law. Law, not your crap acts and statutes. Laws made pursuant to this, pursuant to the authority granted by this, and that includes your state constitution, but you don't have one. You cannot, the Parliament cannot pass a law that takes itself from under the Constitution which it's subject to and puts itself above it. And that's at state or federal level, doesn't matter. There is no provision in here to do it. Do you get that? Understand it, think about it. Till then, just shut up. I don't want to hear you, nor does anybody else. There's nothing that comes out of your mouth that could add to the human store of knowledge. Thank you.
The whole thing's a bloody scam, and we're being duped into it. The whole thing is rubbish. The whole thing is nonsense.
Stay strong!
Get layers! We want more levels! Come on, more people win! Another level! You have no legal right to move us on!
I'm only a retired schoolmaster. I'm not a medico, but I can read evidence. Everyone can read evidence. And the evidence is clear as crystal. The pandemic is a scam.
Yeah! Let the kids live! Let the kids live! Let the kids live! Your job is to take your time to get on. Freedom! 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 Freedom!
It is not safe, it is not smart, It is not lawful. In fact, it is absolutely selfish for people to be out there protesting. The only protest we should be engaged in, the only argument, the only fight we should be engaged in is against this virus.
Chapter 12
Here goes, come on,
Freedom! Freedom! Freedom!
Take your masks off! Freedom!
Now we're done with your tricks. Don't tread on us. Don't tread on us. We're not afraid. You work for us. We're not your slaves. Don't tread on us. You crossed the line. So you will pay for all your crimes. Don't tread on us. Don't tread on us. Now it's payback time. Slave. Don't tread